Where is Dave Ramsey right and where is he wrong? Well, let me just start with, he's got this 7-step kind of process that we're going to go through step by step and kind of critique it. For a long time, I really said pretty nice things about Dave, and it's like, oh, well, he helps train wrecks get on track, and he helps people that have an overwhelming amount of debt kind of do better, and I like some of the things. And then there's other things I'm like, wow, that's just going to create permanent scarcity. And then it got worse. Wow, he's telling people they're stupid, they're idiots, they're wrong. And I was like, what in the hell is going on? So let's just kind of walk through this a little bit, because he's got his baby steps. The first baby step is save $1,000 for your starter emergency fund. Now, that's fine, but I don't want to call anything an emergency fund. Emergency is kind of a scarcity term, and the only way you spend it is having an emergency. I want you to start creating a peace of mind fund. And I got to tell you, more than $1,000 before you get to a second step. He's saying $1,000, then pay off all your debt. So step 2 is pay off all the debt except the house using the debt snowball, which is focused on the thing that's easiest to pay off. I have a caveat to that called the cash flow index. Take your loan balance, divide it by the minimum monthly payment, and pay off the one with the lowest cash flow index first. It'll take into consideration the interest rate and the payment, not just the easiest thing to pay off. So that's something to pay attention to on step 2. But I like that he's saying, yeah, start saving some money. I think you should automatically save and get a percentage going to some type of fund. Some of the ways to kind of build that emergency fund that he's talking about, that I would call a peace of mind fund, is to save on tax. If you're getting a refund, change your exemptions. If you're a business owner, there's tons of videos we have on here that'll help you out. Second, save on interest, which might be restructuring loans, renegotiating interest rates. It might be, taking underperforming assets and paying things off, so that's really going to help things out that way as well. So automatically save, find money, the taxes, interest, maybe investments. Maybe there's high fees on investments, which Dave doesn't seem to care about. He says, doesn't matter whether you're in an index fund or any fund, just start doing something. And the fourth one is insurance. There's a lot of duplicate coverages or costs. So I want you to find money to go there rather than budget your way there. Be more efficient and plug the leaks. Paying off all debt, well, I have an exception to him saying debt, because debt is a little bit of a term that's loaded and that people misuse. So debt in its truest form is if we take a balance sheet, which is your assets, and then on the right side, your liabilities, with kind of this vertical line, assets versus liabilities. So if you had a $100,000 property you could buy right now for $50,000 and you borrowed, are you $50,000 in debt? Well, not by the actual technical definition, because if it's a $100,000 asset and you owe $50,000 on it, you don't have $50,000 of debt, you have $50,000 of equity. We determine it by taking your $100,000, subtracting your $50,000, it's $50,000 left over. Now, if it was the opposite, where you had a $50,000 house that you paid $100,000 for on a loan, you're now $50,000 in debt. Debt is when you owe more than the asset that's attached to it. A lot of people get into actual debt by borrowing to consume, by taking trips they don't have the money for. They come home with memories, but with debt that now is a reminder of all the extra work they have to do to take care of it. Okay, baby step number 3. He says save 3 to 6 months of expenses in a fully funded emergency fund. I'm still calling it a peace of mind fund, and I'm still saying plug leaks first and get to at least 3 months before you start attacking your loans, because otherwise you might be one incident, 1 month, one issue away from going right back into that debt, right back into that borrowing, because you haven't taken care of things quite enough. So 6 months is great. I like 6 months for your peace of mind fund. And then his number 4 is invest 15% of your household income in retirement. Hate this step. I like the 15%, but into retirement, here's my problem. Retirement plans are neglecting cash flow. They're deferring taxes, unless it's a Roth IRA, which is hopefully tax-free in the future. But all these other plans are deferring taxes into a future that tax rates could be higher. The government's $27 trillion in debt. They could be raising the taxes. From 1944 to 1981, the tax rate was over 50%. Right now, it's 37.5% at the top level. So retirement kind of neglects cash flow. My goal here would be to get you economically independent. How can you start acquiring assets that kick off cash flow? For some people, that might be acquiring a small business, which you can get for about the same down payment as on a normal home. Or it could be investing in real estate, which not everybody's built for that, and most people should probably stay away from it. Some might be creating intellectual property. Others, I don't know what it is for you. You got to figure out your investor DNA, but cash flow is the key. Retirement neglects cash flow. It's all about accumulation. It's usually invested in mutual funds, and it becomes a problem. Baby step number 5, save for your children's college fund. Well, look, is college what you want for your kids? Is college really the way of the future right now? Education's becoming more accessible, less expensive, and available to so many places, yet colleges continue to become more expensive. People are riddled with student loan debt. It doesn't determine what you can actually capable of just because you get a degree. We found found that with far too many people, they've got a degree and a job that has nothing to do with it, that isn't even enough to pay off those student loans. Now, are you going to go fund this college fund for your kids? It is going to take from your net worth, and if you're now putting money into a specific college fund, you're hamstringing yourself to be for college rather than maximize your overall wealth. Maximize your wealth, and if you choose to support your kids, like my friend Rich did, he bought real estate, put them in the real estate, paid them, so they got tax deductions. They didn't have to pay much income because they were young while they're there. They're learning how to be property managers. And then he sold that to pay off everything that cost for college. And now he didn't destroy his net worth. I don't know that you really want to put away for a college fund. It minimizes your overall returns when you're starting to separate and compartmentalize too many ways. And I'm really focused on economic independence. Enough recurring revenue and cash flow from assets to cover your basic expenses. You can get there within 3 to 7 years by paying off loans that are inefficient, by making sure that you plug financial leaks, by making sure you know what your monthly is, and then reverse engineer how you're going to get there, how you start turning your dead assets or lazy assets into cash flowing assets, and if you're a business owner, how you scale that business to start becoming a lot more productive, and most importantly, invest back into yourself. The key here is it's not about a mutual fund that's going to save you. It's not about a college fund that's going to save you. It's not just about paying things off. It's about investing in your skill sets that matter. Step number 6, he says, pay off your home early. How you pay off your home early, if that's really what you want to do, is key. Paying extra is a limiting factor. Shortening your mortgage is dangerous. What I'm talking about is a method of keeping control of your cash, maximizing the tax advantages, setting money aside, and when you have enough cash on hand, then you pay off your home. That way, if there's any interruptions, economic disturbances, health issues, job changes, you've got the cash in hand, not locked away in the equity of your home, which no bank wants to give you if you have a difficult situation. Baby step number 7, build wealth and give. My issue is most of his build wealth is invest in the public markets and mutual funds. Just hand that over. Those have underperformed and overpromised for quite some time. In the 90s, they were fantastic, and I'm sure everybody that followed his plan, they paid off debt, they invested in the stock market, they did extraordinarily well. But in the last while, the market is up, it's down, there's fees, there's flash trading, there's companies that go out of business that don't account for the actual rate of return in the S&P 500 because they replace it. There's a myriad of problems, and you should watch my video with Ryan Moran to really figure out what I'm talking about there. How you build wealth is key. 92% of people worth $5 million or more, well, they've got money in a business. They own a business. It's not just about set it and forget it, invest early, often, and always. It's not about relying on a stock market that you don't have any control over, or mutual funds that are overly diversified, which I call diversification. I love the thing of give, of pay it forward, of give service. You can add value, so good job, Dave, on that. But how you build wealth, I'm a very divergent from him. I'm all about how can you create economic independence? How can you create cash flow? We're both in agreement. Get rid of loans that are inefficient. Get rid of loans that burden you or keep you up at night, and avoid borrowing to consume. That'll help get you out of that place and never get in that place in the first situation, and I think you'll be a lot better off. So these are not terrible steps. I think the word baby in front of all of them makes sense because it's basically the advice I would give an economic 2-year-old, not someone that's really out to create sustainable and lasting wealth.
Want to master your money? Want to figure out the things that you could do to improve your finances? Click here and check out more videos like this on Money Matters.